The kingdoms of this world draw lines, but Jesus crosses them. The kingdoms of this world erect barriers, but Jesus breaks them down. The kingdoms of this world define who's in and who's out, who is we and who is they, but Jesus simply doesn't play that game. We're living in a world where technology allows us to stay connected to our people like never before, but despite all of those technological advancements, I think there are a massive percentage of us that feel isolated and lonely. At least that's what the statistics show. We're the most connected, most lonely generation in the history of the world. And it's the paradox of our time. We can literally talk to anybody, and yet we still struggle to truly see one another. And we live in a society that is deeply divided, and that doesn't make things easier. Sometimes I look at our world, and I feel like it's just being pulled apart at the seams. And not just by politics and preferences, but in like the deepest places in our soul where we long to belong. It's hard to feel connection and to make connections across all of the walls that are built in our world. The kingdoms of this world draw lines, but Jesus crosses them. The kingdoms of this world erect barriers, but Jesus breaks them down. The kingdoms of this world define who's in and who's out, who is we and who is they, but Jesus simply doesn't play that game. It's natural for us to go through the world holding the hand up to the people who aren't like us. It's natural for us to divide the world into us and them, but Jesus invites us into a totally different kind of system and a totally different kind of living, where we don't look at the people around us through the lens of these echo chambers that exist in our culture. They give us a radical, twisted truth on who people are that cause us to hold a hand up to them. Jesus actually invites us to invite them in. Jesus just completely redefined who and how we're supposed to love. Like in the kingdoms of this world, love is limited by the lines we've drawn. But in the last kingdom, love is limited only by the opportunities that are right in front of our faces. You guys, last kingdom living is not about self-preservation, it's about self-sacrifice. When the Samaritan saw this guy beaten in line on the side of the road, instead of asking, what will happen to me if I stop? He asked, what will happen to him if I don't? And that question allowed him to live with courageous compassion. I mean, make no mistake, every time we love somebody who isn't like us or part of us, every time we cross the lines the world has drawn and break down the boundaries the world has set up to show compassion, that's an act of deep courage. This wasn't a safe thing for the Samaritan to do. He was obviously on a road that had crooks and robbers. He could have been beaten for stopping. It wasn't a convenient thing for him to do. He had to take time out of his day, and then he had to go back to the inn to pay the innkeeper whatever he owed him. It wasn't a costless thing for him to do. It came out of his own bank account. But there was something inside him more dangerous than hatred and more dangerous than fear. Love. Love is dangerous to the darkness. Compassion does damage to the brokenness of our world. It's a holy disruption. Compassion is a sacred rebellion against the boundaries we build and against the inertia of apathy. And Jesus made it clear here that we're meant to show it to everyone, not just the people we like or the people who are like us. But can we admit something? Even though we know that walking the way of the Samaritan would create more beauty in our world every time we encounter broken people, even though we know that it would transform our lives and our hearts, something inside us is just at least a little bit resistant to it, because that's uncomfortable and it's inconvenient and it's uncontrollable. Like, we don't get to decide when somebody else is in crisis. All we can do is like care about it or not care about it. And Jesus invites us to care about it. But it's really inconvenient. Compassion is almost always inconvenient. I think usually if it's convenient, it's not compassionate. And also it's uncomfortable. It always costs us something. And usually that something is more than we wanted to pay. It cost the Samaritan his time. It cost him his money. It cost Jesus his life. But what we know is there's a beauty to be found on the other side of paying that cost. The Samaritan was a neighbor because he recognized the cost and he paid it. He saw the need and he met it. He knew the inconvenience and he did not talk himself out of it. Like, we don't get to schedule other people's messes. We just get to step into them. And that's what Jesus invites every single one of us to do. Just like the Good Samaritan did, to get other people's messes all over our hands, our wallets, and our calendars. I don't think that guy set out on his journey, wherever he was going that day, to be a hero. But when the opportunity was right in front of him, he refused to pass by on the other side. He decided to be a neighbor. So this morning, I want to invite you to something that I think is kind of a simple first step. In the big picture, I want to challenge you to start seeing the world differently, to start seeing the hurt and the pain and the need of the people your life crashes into through the lens of being a neighbor, and then loving God with everything you got, because when you love God with everything you've got, his love flows through you to other people. It transforms us from the inside out, and it allows us to start doing the loving people thing, not as a way to earn his love, but in response to his love, because we've already got it even though we didn't earn it.